April. He's now in December, and here he is facing for the title. Now, I don't think people would have expected Shamrock to walk out the WWF champion, but this is a time where that belt was flying about a lot, so it wouldn't be quite ridiculous for Ken Shamrock to have won it here, but it might have come out of left field. Let's put it that way. Shamrock post this would very much go on towards the Intercontinental level with the match. I mean, the match before this, they kind of swap roles, because Steve Austin was obviously going to go on to win the Royal Rumble, but Ken Shamrock is about to get a run with the Rock at WrestleMania 14, which is no small feat. So he was definitely being set up for some good stuff here. And again, I would imagine they'd already knew where they were going to go with Shamrock anyway. I've heard Jim Ross many a times now just talk about Ken Shamrock and say he was, by all accounts, he was very, very close. Had he signed another deal with WWF, he was very, very close to getting that WWF title run. Which is amazing when you think about it, and that apparently that was going to come in like 2000s, but obviously Shamrock went back to UFC. He done the thing with Tito Ortiz with Shawn Michaels, very heelish spit in there. It's what Michaels was very good at, being that coward angle. But yes, I mean, Shamrock at this point, he'd had the match, of course, with Davey Boy Smith at SummerSlam. I think he'd done a run with Owen. I can't quite remember now. But the whole thing with Shamrock coming in, and we will cover the Canadian Stampede match, because it's without doubt, I'll probably say this now, we are going to end with Canadian Stampede's 5-on-5 match. That's going to be episode 10, just because I think out of all the requests I've had, that and Hell in a Cell that we did like very early on, they're the most requested. So I'm going to end on that one. But yeah, I think the point of Shamrock coming in was everybody seemed to put Shamrock and Brett, that was going to be the match. That should be the match. And coming out of WrestleMania 13, I'm pretty sure people had an appetite for it because of what happened. Like they gave sort of a little feeler there. They sort of, drip feed it a little bit to see the reaction. I think it got good, and obviously two submission guys like that would have been quite something to see. But that never really materialised, and obviously Brett's not here now, which is a massive thing. I know from hearing from Shamrock, some of the interviews he'd done, that he felt once Brett had gone, like Brett was one of his biggest supporters, once Brett had gone for a while, he felt like he wasn't going to get to that next level, because Brett would have been the guy to have the matches with. Obviously he's against Shawn here, but I wonder if a while before this it was maybe Shamrock and Brett, who knows, on that one. Also, depending on when you're listening to this podcast, if you're, because some of these podcasts like this one is obviously it's a standalone type thing, and it's a timeless piece, so you could be listening to this whenever. But if you are listening to it around now, where we obviously, I hope everyone is well and safe with the whole staying in, and I want to thank anybody who is listening to this. I have had a few emails from people working in care homes and hospitals, telling me that I'm one of their sort of escapes when they're travelling in or travelling home, and I appreciate that so much, and I appreciate you guys more, because you guys are the ones that are out there, and without you guys, really this whole thing would not work at all, and I appreciate it so much what you guys do. But thank you for your feedback, as always. For anybody that's new, maybe checking me out for the first time, obviously WrestleLine, we have a podcast, but we also do like video content as well. So we've got a YouTube channel. We've also got I do a lot of stuff on Instagram. So WrestleLine channel there, and Facebook and Twitter is at WrestleLine. But we do like interviews on the podcast as well with a lot of UK wrestlers and personalities. So check them out. Had some great people on in all this. We've had Adam Maxted. We've had Mariah May, RJ Singh, Ricky Knight Jr., CJ Carter, just a whole host of great people to have on the show that we've been speaking to, and it's been really cool to be able to do that. And obviously, I'm still going to be doing that a little bit more as well. And in terms of our video content, we've got quite a lot of stuff of all the media stuff we've done around various events. So really encourage you guys to check that out. As we now see Shamrock laying it in thick here. There you go, there's China. Crazy thing here with China is that she, obviously she'd had the early run here with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, obviously, but I think there was still much mystique about her. They really used that whole less is more. There you go. I kind of like the fact that because Shamrock, when he first came in, was wearing red trunks. Then they went to blue. No, it might have been blue after this actually. But I think I prefer him in the black. He did chop and change that, but his look, like the way he wears his knee pads up to his boots, like they're all as one, is really cool. I'm not sure too many guys were doing that at the time, but it looks good. And I think, alright, maybe Shamrock didn't have the complete look for Vince McMahon, maybe in terms of height, but I mean, body-wise, he's a legit guy. He's everything and more. I mean, it's unfortunate for Ken because it's almost like too early for him in this era, because you look at what they've done with Brock, the legit guy. I wonder really, Vince at this time, UFC, unfortunately, it was nowhere near the popularity that it is now. It certainly wasn't as mainstream worldwide. It was still very much that old sort of style tournament stuff they were doing most times, and it was very inconsistently run at times. This is like pre-Dana White for sure. But I think had Shamrock have sort of come in more in the 2000s, I wonder if he'd have got a little bit more respect to... I'm not saying he hasn't been pushed quick here, because he has, but I think this is mainly on his own merit. But I'm talking about actually getting marquee quality matches in all the time. I do feel like his price tag, I think whatever WWF was offering him in the end of 99 or whenever it was he was going to leave, I reckon that would have been doubled if it had been sort of in the 2000s, let's put it that way. And it's kind of one of those odd things that Shamrock's never come back either. He's never come back to WWF. What the hell was that? That looks so... I don't know if that actually even touched Shamrock, did it? I don't like to call out things the obvious, but that just looked, totally against it, didn't it? So that's far in this match. Very much Shamrock getting enough in here. Oh, that was cool. Doesn't matter who Shawn Michaels works with, he's just so good at working with a variety of so many different opponents. And it's quite an interesting clash of styles really between Shamrock and Michaels. I suppose a lot of people would put Shamrock in that technical category, but he didn't wrestle, he was not Bret Hart style. Other thing to really notice with the In Your House, as we've gone through all these, the whole thing of the In Your House series is the fact that they're now using the red ropes. Obviously, that would become very much a a standpoint and big thing there for WWF to use those red ropes around the ring. That sort of become its own thing, especially in the Attitude Era, very much its own thing. I think this match, that's far. I mean, this pay-per-view, I would have been watching this one live because I think I'd got Sky in this time. I certainly watched Survivor Series, so I would have been watching this. But I don't quite remember where I watched it, but I do remember bits and pieces. I remember being very intrigued about it being called D-Generation X, like that whole thing. It was very much a kind of a new... frantic style of watching it in that way. But one that certainly, I remember a long time in school being the sort of nerdy kind of kid that watches wrestling. All of a sudden, this whole DX thing takes off, and then Austin especially, and I'm now the coolest kid in school because everybody wants to know the inside scoop. See now, Shamrock almost working that nice build now into getting the crowd exactly where they want them. Again, I'm just not sure that this match, you're coming off some real crackers, like pay-per-view wise. Like you've gone Hell in a Cell, you've gone Bad Blood, that was, and then you've gone from that crazy scenario at Survivor Series, and obviously this is the back end of the year, and you've got the Royal Rumble that's going to come up in January, which is what everybody's probably looking towards even here. But I kind of feel that maybe the audience here, the fans, like, whether they're really kind of just waiting for that to happen, because this match does seem a little bit of a, like, obviously this is Michaels' first defence from winning the title. I'll use that word loosely, but you don't expect a champion to quickly lose it like that. But like I said, this was the time with certain things like that could happen. But I'm just not sure Shamrock, was maybe the right choice here to have him at this time. But in saying that, they did do a good job with Shamrock at protecting him, so maybe he was. I just don't think people believed in the match enough that there was going to be a change. That I think even if Shamrock did win, they'd feel like he certainly wouldn't go with the title. It would have to be some sort of DQ finish. But this also might have been a test for Shamrock as well in WWF, like the high brass there in WWF, in terms of, can this guy go at the main event level? Obviously, this is his first main event. How well does he do? Does he have good stuff with the fans? Are they getting into him? It's just unfortunate. I think Shamrock, that's good there. I think in terms of having the fans behind him, I think it was just a little bit too soon, because they protected him, but they protected him more as a heel. Now you're trying to get him in as a baby face. It was kind of very fast. There we go. Shamrock I loved Shamrock's just going to go out here and just brawl on the guy, just fisted, punched the whole head, and some good near falls in this match though. There you go, rake of the eye. Very heel Shawn Michaels there. That was a cool little spot, wasn't it? I think we've seen that too many times. Man, Michaels